What's going on, YouTube? Evan here with Cloud9 Aquariums. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about how to buy your equipment and tanks a little bit cheaper. My preferred method, Craigslist. Works great. Now you might be asking, why is this fool dressed like this right now? Okay, it's Thursday and I'm about to go to an ugly sweater party, but I just thought it'd be fun to bring you another video because it's the middle of the week and I'm supposed to do this, okay? So, here we go for the hobby. Buying equipment. Alright, I like to do it on Craigslist. Now, some of you people may be kind of skeptical about it because it's used equipment and, you really just want to start out fresh with brand new things. If you have the money to throw away on that, go right on ahead, okay? I'm not going to be one to say new equipment is bad or whatever, I would love to have the newest equipment on the market right now and everybody would, but it's just really expensive. Now, if you're a beginning hobbyist, this is the greatest thing you will ever to exist, okay? Now, the only problem with this is, if you're one of those people who's got to have it right now, it's going to be a little bit of a hassle for you. You're going to have to struggle through it, but I promise you it's worth it in the long run. Now, basically, this is what I like to do. Because I got a smartphone, I'm sure most of you do too, seriously, get a Craigslist app, okay? And just check this, make 5 minutes a day to check it, okay? All I do is I just check, community pets, and I'll look on just general for sale. Usually it's under miscellaneous or whatever, but I just search. I usually search like keywords like fish, fish tank, whatever I'm looking for, and generally stuff will pop up. Now here's one thing you gotta understand. Most people want to make a lot of money, okay? They don't care if they rip you off, because they're like, oh, these people are trying to get into hobby. I will tell them that I bought this tank and all this equipment for $700. Okay, well, I don't care how much you pay for it new. That's not what it's worth to me. Okay, so let's just get one thing straight. When somebody tries to sell you, a 50-gallon tank with, lights and a heater and a one filter and maybe a stand for, over $500, something's wrong with that picture, okay? I don't care how much they told you they pay for it. If they paid that much for it brand new, they got ripped off, okay? Because frankly, Petco has these deals a lot where it's $1 a gallon for tanks, okay? So, you expect me to pay more than $1 a gallon for a used tank? You're crazy. So that's my general rule. First off, when you're buying a tank, $1 a gallon. That's it. Don't pay any more than $1 a gallon. Now, for those of you who are still confused what I'm talking about, 40-gallon tanks. I would not spend more than $40 on this tank. Now, I'm not saying for tank and stand and light and all that stuff put together. I'm talking just the tank, okay? Now, that's another thing you're gonna see a lot of. Beware of the package deals, okay? They can be outstanding, and I'll give you an example in a second. But beware, because people will try to throw in this stuff and throw in that stuff, and half of it may not even work. And even if it does all work, make sure you actually know how much this costs, how much this costs, how much this costs. Not them saying, oh, I got everything you're going to possibly need, here you go. And then you get screwed over off of, a couple $100. So this is meant to, get a good deal, and it also helps you meet hobbyists around you, which maybe can even help you in the long run, okay? But what I like to do especially is look for ads where people say specifically they're moving. Okay, that's a really good factor because A, they need to get rid of the tank. Okay, the reason they're selling it is because they can't take it with them. So they want it gone, which means they're probably going to end up selling it for less than they are putting it up for, okay? Because you're going to say, well, I'll just, let you do what you got to do, and if you can sell it before then, perfect, but here's my offer, and if you don't sell it before you got to move, boom, it's mine. Okay, so that's one good thing, is look for people who want to get rid of it. The second thing that goes kind of along with that is do not need a tank, okay, or do not need equipment. Because if you go in there telling them, oh, I really need this like today, and so can you cut me a deal, no, because then they're going to sense that, and they're just going to, it's the same thing with any kind of bartering, okay? They're just going to sense that and instantly want to screw you over. So make sure you don't need anything, don't get attached to anything, because you know what, I guarantee you'll find another one next week if you don't find it, if you can't get your hands on it. So seriously, do not need anything. And even if you do need it, just don't let them know, okay? Just act like you don't want it and it's not a big deal. You're just kind of like, oh, this seemed like a good deal and I'll just take it, whatever. Another great thing I like to do too is when you're, making the final deal, especially if they're moving, they're not going to need all the other equipment they have. So say they're just giving you the tank and stuff, just say, hey, if you have any other kind of fish stuff, if you want to throw it in, I'll hand you, another $20 for it or whatever, because a lot of times they'll have, extra algae scrubbing pads or filters or anything. chemicals, I mean, it all costs money, okay? And if it's not any use to them, it's just going to go in the trash anyways. Why not give it to someone who's going to use it? So that's one thing I really like to do too, is just ask them if they have anything else they want to kind of pawn off. And this is specifically when you're actually trying to buy a tank. There's a couple things you want to look at when you're buying a used tank, okay? Well, first off, you want to make sure it doesn't leak. Now, this is one thing that sometimes for a bigger tank, people will be very annoyed with you at. They don't want to fill up their 55, 100-gallon tank, okay? That's just it's too time consuming for them. It's too much work, I just had it set up last week. That's nice. I don't care if you had it set up last week. I would like to see that it doesn't leak right now because I don't want 100 gallons all over my floor. Okay? So make sure they fill the whole thing up and don't do the, I put some water in it and they fill it halfway and that's good enough. No. Fill it to the top. Let it sit there. Wipe the whole thing down and look at it. Okay? You want to check another thing you want to check for is scratches. Okay? Like on this tank, I got a bunch of scratches on the front. And I didn't really care when I bought it because I got a really good deal on it. And I knew I was just, this is going to my room, just hanging out. I didn't plan on making a huge YouTube channel or anything, trying to show off my tank. But I'm not trying to show off my tank, but it's just something I enjoy and I can get over the scratches. Now, if you're an OCD kind of person, you probably shouldn't buy something with scratches on it. So again, with the leak checks too, just check the seams in the corner. Okay, it's not too bad. Just look for any kind of cracking, any kind of chips. Because that's gonna damage the integrity of your tank. And just check that silicone is all nicely done. If it seems like it's been redone, make sure they know what they're talking about and ask them about that if they did it themselves. Because some people try to redo it themselves and then sell it because they screwed it up, and so you just don't want to really screw around with something that could end up all over your floor and killing a lot of fish and then making a lot of damage too. Another thing some people don't really think about looking at. But look at the rim on the top. That's really important because that holds a lot of the pressure together. Because when you put the water on a bigger tank, it's actually going to try to expand the tank out. So you want to make sure if it's supposed to have a brace in it, and there's all sorts of stuff online where you can look up tank dimensions and stuff like that, and whether or not they have braces. So like this tank right here, because it's a 4-foot long tank, it's got a brace in the middle. Now if that brace isn't there, like it's been broken off or something like that, whoa, red flag. Okay, that's a reptile tank. That is not meant for water. Can it hold water? Sure. I'm sure it could. But do you want to risk having all of your fish and all that water all over your floor? I don't. So, make sure you always, know what you're buying before you go there. If you're going to buy equipment from someone, one thing I really like to get used is canister filters. Sometimes people upgrade to a new one, or, for whatever reason. Because canister filters are really expensive and most people don't want to buy them new because of that. So I would just check out canister filters on, Craigslist or whatever. I've gotten so much stuff off there, it's unreal. I'm going to tell you here's my big, yeah, I did it. Right, okay, so I think it was a couple months ago, I was just, browsing, looking for good deals. I didn't need anything, I just kind of wanted another tank. I was really looking for filters, and I happened to find this package deal, okay? And it was a 90-gallon tank with a stand and lights, and it said it came with all the equipment and stuff, and they were asking like $175. So I was like, okay, it's not too bad considering the equipment they're sending, they're giving you to. I figured, the tank was worth $90. It came with a wrought iron stand, which I'm not like, wow, but it works for me. It's something you need. You don't want to put it on your floor. You can't just put a 90-gallon tank on, just some ordinary table. So I went and checked it out. And wouldn't you know, I ended up walking out of there with, I believe, 3 Fluval 304s, and then a Fluval 404, which are canister filters. Each one of them is worth a couple, over $150. And then I walked out with a 90-gallon tank, lights, heaters, and I asked them if they had any extra equipment, and they just started handing me stuff. I mean, I got like 100 pounds of gravel, a bunch of rocks, so it was a lot of cool stuff. Chemicals, I mean, it was great. It was great, and I got it for $150 too. I didn't even, not even breaking a sweat. So it was one of those things where it pays to really do your research, know what you're looking for. When you get a good deal, awesome. Because even if I decided I didn't want everything, I could have just resold some of it. So say I just wanted to keep a couple of the filters or whatever, but now I can just use them for parts for each other. And that's the last thing I want to talk about is when you're going to buy equipment, especially when it comes to filters. you really want to make sure that, A, you turn them on. Don't believe that they work. It's the same thing with tanks. Don't believe they don't leak. Okay? Plug them in, run water through them. Make sure the thing actually pumps the water through. Do the research on the specific equipment before you go there. That way you know what you're talking about. That way you know, okay, this is what tends to break in it, so I'm going to check it. So especially in canister filters, you want to check, make sure, A, it's got the impeller, all that kind of stuff. The impeller shafts really tend to break. They're just made out of like a little bit, it's almost like not a porcelain, but a ceramic like ring. So you want to make sure that that's intact, and you want to turn it on, listen. Canister filters, once they're full with water and you get all the bubbles out, they're supposed to be nice and silent. Okay, if there's a bunch of rattling going on, things jumping across the floor, something's wrong with it. Okay, that's why they're selling it. Don't buy it. You don't need it. You don't need it. So, just make sure you do your research, especially before you get there. And that's how I get all my deals, and it's been fantastic for me. I haven't, blown a lot of money. I have a bunch of, just a couple tanks. And it makes it more enjoyable, because then you have more money to throw into more important things like your plants and your fish. Because that's what really matters, So, feel free to leave comments, questions, all that jazz below. I try to get back to you. If you haven't already, subscribe, because this is so fun, and that you're enjoying all these videos and you want to see more. So yeah, I hope this episode brings you and your fish just a little bit closer to Cloud 9.